Before we get into the garden, this is the garlic patch that I planted this year. This was a free container that came from an old farm, and filled it up, planted garlic for the first time ever, and it looks like it's going okay. There has been a little pressure from goats and chickens, so we've lost a few of the greens, but I think overall this is going to be a success. Let's go ahead and go into the garden, and I'll show you around. The way I'm going to do this walkthrough is just kind of from bed to bed. I'm going to explain what's in it, what condition it's in, and briefly I'll describe how I plan on using this bed this year. It's almost planting time. So first bed right here, this is where the strawberries were last year, and some sweet peppers on the edge. All the sweet peppers except maybe this one died and they're gone. All the strawberries were moved over to another bed. I'll show you that in a minute. I amended this bed with compost and then covered it with mulch, and it's just been sitting for a few months like that, hoping to increase the fertility of this bed so that when I do plant, this will probably be tomatoes this year. I have a lot of tomato plants, and I'm going to put all of the same variety in. I'm going to try to clump the same variety so that I can save seeds. So follow me around here and I'll show you a few of the things that you might not notice if I weren't pointing them out. Like this. This is one of my 2 grape plants. Funny story, I had grape vines show up in the mail from a company that I sometimes order from, but I don't remember ever ordering grapevines. I don't remember, I looked through all of my emails and receipts, and I don't think I bought these grapevines. But I planted them anyway. There's 2 different varieties. There's one grape here, and another grape here. This bed is one, a few videos back I showed you the condition of the untreated lumber. And so I emptied this one out for the most part. I amended it with coconut coir, compost, and the soil that was already in there. And then I covered it up. Or I put leaves on there, and then I covered it up to help that just kind of settle down. Here in a few weeks, I'll take this off and I'll plant either tomatoes or peppers. On the end of this bed is the asparagus plants that I planted a couple seasons ago. A few of them popped up, and then they got hit by the cold that was a few weeks ago. Then we got a few new sprouts here. You can see that they're starting to come up. This one got hit by the cold, so it's withered away. But these young sprouts here, I could harvest these this year, but I might go ahead and wait till next year. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 plantings. The next bed over, this is another bed that I cleared out, composted, and mulched. Right down here on the end was a volunteer tomato that I transplanted in here. That was before we had that really cold week last week, and it looks like it's still alive, but it did suffer from the cold. The rest of this bed has nothing in it. And moving on up is, this one is similar in that it was composted and mulched, but I did have a small patch of lettuce here, and we've been eating on this lettuce for the last month or so. I've been giving some of it to the chickens and the ducks and the goats. And on the very end down here of this bed, I mounted this structure. This was a structure that we had, that we found. My son was doing a cleanup job on a ranch, and there were 3 of these panels out there, and I decided to put one of them in here for a trellis. I'll probably put the other 2 in here later this season. In front of it, I planted some peas, but they've taken forever to germinate and come up, so I don't think they're going to do a lot. One of them did okay, but it got eaten off at the base by the pill bugs. Behind that are carrots, and I've already harvested a few carrots out of here. And this was my first real successful planting of carrots, so that's exciting. I probably have another 10 carrots that I can pull out of there in the back. Okay, next row. This is a propagated lemon tree. This was a volunteer oak tree that needs to be planted, severely needs to be planted. It's gonna be very difficult to get out of this pot, but I need to do that. And in this smart pot here was a volunteer tomato, but again, I think the cold took it out. It's gone. There's no chance that's alive. And this whole bit here are the pomegranates, and I'll link to that other video showing you how I planted these and the story behind these. But it looks like I'm going to have nearly 100% success on the pomegranates, which is amazing. The yellow buckets, I'm going to disappoint a lot of people on Pinterest. It's one of my most popular Pinterest pins on how to propagate fig trees. All 4 of them died. 100% failure. That's okay. I'm going to try again. But those empty buckets, I'm going to use that sand in some planting mix. My centerpiece, which I keep meaning to do a video about and I never have, but we found this structure in, it was on the roadside, on the curbside, someone threw it away, and we repurposed it. I have it mounted on bricks down here with these little stakes over it holding it in place. I put hardware cloth over it, and there are a few peas that tried to grow up. Again, they didn't do a whole lot. But I also put down some seeds of passion vine. So I'm hoping that we get some passion vine on this trellis so we can harvest the passion vines for our own medicinal uses. A few more trees in the buckets. A Texas smoke tree. These first 3 buckets are my Mayhaw fruit trees, and then 2 wild apple trees. Not wild that I found, but I ordered them. They're called wild apples. And this, in this fabric pot here, is a pecan tree that I ordered last season, and it sat in a pot all last season. The root, the tap root, was coiled around, so I had to kind of trim that off, and I put it in this fabric pot, hoping I can get it to a point to where I can actually go plant it. And pumpkin is hanging out in this bed. Last year, this is my hot peppers, and it looks like possibly 5 of the 6 hot peppers, this one's dead, but 5 of the 6 look like they may have made it through the winter. And I insulated the bed, mulched it with leaves, hoping to help them get through the winter. I have a small, this is a Thai basil. This is a Thai basil that I put those bricks around, and when the Thai basil went to seed, and I crushed all the foliage and the seeds, and I spread them around in that area, I'm hoping that it reseeds itself right there, and I can have always occurring Thai basil right here in this bed. And there's carrots in here too. The carrots, what I'm hoping for is that this will be their 2nd season. They will seed, and I'll be able to collect some carrot seeds, because carrot seeds only, or carrot plants only seed in a 2nd or beyond the 1st season of planting. So just a little experiment to see if I can get some carrot seeds. And this is a potted Osage orange tree. It's very thorny. I need to get it put on the fence line because I would like to harvest the wood from this, and also use the thorny nature of the tree to help provide a little bit of protection on that fence line. Okay, next bed. Lots of things going on here. I put these trellises up. These are tomato cages that I had made a couple seasons ago, and I again planted peas, sugar snap peas, around the base, and again in this bed had very little success growing any of those. Only one bed had any success, and I'll show you that in a minute. This was my peri-peri plants, the peri-peri hot peppers, and it looked really nice until it got cold last week, so I'm not sure if it killed it off or if it's going to make it. There's still a lot of green in the stem, so I'm hoping it makes it through. Another little peri-peri there. And on this end were the extra garlic plants. I planted that circle pot and put the extras in here. These have a lot less pressure from chickens and goats, so they look a lot nicer, the greens do. And all of these here are just kind of a collection of, there's some willow plants, this is a strawberry guava, there's some propagated lemon trees, and these 4 trees on the end are loquat trees. So that's pretty exciting that I'll be able to get some loquat trees. And then right over on the other side are a few roses. And this tree here, I can never remember the name of it. It's a native, I believe it's a native tree. My neighbor gave that to me, so I'll have to ask him again what it is. Then there's a pine nut pine tree. This is a golden rain tree, another little rose, my lemon, and this is a Pride of Barbados, but I mean it's still green, so I'm hoping it comes back, but it died back in the winter. And then these are mulberry trees, and my rosemary that is doing beautifully, and in the other half barrel is mint. It's also doing very well. And I'll take you on this long bed on the end here. This is where we transplanted the strawberries. They came out of that one bed. What happened was, in my ignorance, I planted my strawberries in the bed that just looked like it was going to be conveniently located for me to plant strawberries. But it ended up being the one garden bed, the raised bed, that gets the most sun. And strawberries are not going to do that well in this Texas full sun. So this corner over here will have filtered sun and a little bit of shade. So I'm hoping this is going to be better for the strawberries. There's already some flowers. It looks like they transplanted pretty well. That's pretty exciting. And here is Swiss chard. It was in another bed, and we transplanted them. Lots of new growth on those. That's really exciting that they transplanted very easily. On the back of this is arugula, and that was from some seed from some arugula that I had grown before, and I saved the seed and I just kind of threw it in that back patch because I wanted a little wild patch of arugula, and it came up perfectly, and I've been putting that in my salads all winter long. Then moving down the bed are some onions. My onion patch is a little sparse this year compared to last. Part of the reason is the cats love the garden, and they get in here and they disrupt these young onions, especially on that far end. They've completely decimated. But I'm going to let the cats have that spot, and there's one other spot down here, and that's pretty much where they hang out. So I'm not going to say a whole lot because I believe they're also helping me keep the rats out. Okay, we're gonna peek on the other end of the greenhouse real fast, and I'll show you the 2 beds over there. 3 beds actually. This is Luke's garden bed, and he is always wanting me to put a tomato tree in here. He loves his tomatoes. He calls them tomato trees. But I don't want to do anything too soon. One, the tomatoes are not ready. Season's not quite ready. I'm another week or 2 away from that. And this is the only place so far this year that I've had any luck with the sugar snap peas. These couple plants have given us a few sugar snap peas. Basically, sugar snap peas for us are garden snacks. We just pull them off and eat them right here in the garden. There's never enough to take inside and make a meal out of. It's just something raw and sweet and crispy to eat in the garden. Also, in here is a patch of chives. And coming up from last year, which I'm excited that it came back, is a lemon thyme. It's just real little, but just touching it like this, I can smell the lemon coming off of it. That's fantastic. This is other growth. Some would call them weeds, but I'm just going to let them grow there. There's one little carrot back here that came back from last season or made it through the winter, and it possibly will give us some seed. And in this corner is another basil. This was the spicy basil, and I'm hoping that it reseeds right here in this corner as well. Okay, this one is my daughter's garden bed, and we completely emptied it a couple weeks ago, and I put coconut coir and compost in here, and we're going to move a few of the starts that are in the greenhouse in here, and I'll show you what I got going on. And this is my little herb bed. I have oregano. Smells fantastic. And parsley. And these, maybe someone could help me identify this. It doesn't look like any weed that I've ever seen, but I don't remember planting those. Not sure what it is. And then another basil back here. This is just a regular sweet basil. Again, hoping that it reseeds right there in that spot. Alright, a quick look in the greenhouse. The greenhouse is messy. You'll have to forgive that. I have a lot going on. On this side over here are some propagated mulberry trees. These are the esperanza flowers. They have the beautiful yellow flowers that gets to be a really big shrub. More mulberry trees. This right here is a wild blackberry, and it is coming along beautifully. I started it from a little tiny cutting. My neighbor was cutting it out, and I decided to save it because he was going to throw it all away. And I think this is called chaya. I'll have to look that up again. It was given to me by a friend. Some more mulberry. My two moringa trees that are holding on, waiting for their spring buds. I'm hoping that I didn't kill them over the winter. And you need to come in here and get a look at this. All these tomatoes are ready to put in larger containers. I had probably 80 to 90% germination. So that's looking really nice. I got 12 varieties, actually 11, because one variety 100% failure on the germination. And these are amaranth and kohlrabi. And something else over here. I think it's Brussels sprouts, but I can't remember what I planted here. So, and my one aloe that just keeps going, I give it very little water and it stays pretty happy. So that's what's going on in the greenhouse. Okay, have I missed anything? Oh, right by the exit. I'll show you the last thing. This is my blackberry. This is the, I think it's called the Natchez blackberry. I might have the name wrong. But all of these are propagated by putting the tips down in the soil. And so now I have 6 new blackberry plants off of my one mother plant. So all of these will be cut off pretty soon and then transplanted either other places in the garden or somewhere else on the farm. So, how's that for a quick tour? I thought many of you might like to see the condition of the garden, what's going on. It's not really exciting right now, but you know, I think it's nice to see people's gardens even when there's not lots going on, because we see pictures of these beautiful lush green gardens, and then at least for me, when I was first starting out, there were times when I felt like other people's gardens always look like that and mine never would. So I've had some very nice lush moments in here where it's just completely full and I'm feeling pretty good about it, and then there's other times of the year where it just looks kind of barren and empty. But the reality is there's still lots going on here, and I wanted to show you the condition of it right now, and hopefully to encourage you to keep trucking along, keep gardening, keep doing it, don't give up. So thank you so much for joining me in the Daddy Kirk's garden. I'll talk to you soon.